DNA track line center location positions off track location. Organism and pathogen walk surface and interference. We channel in high rise line center rotation positions, understand our heat signature patterns. It's true to understand we're all connected to all levels of ourselves. So we write our own script. We communicate in the high level rotations. We're our own director, producer, whatever you want, three positions. Either it's a strong play or in a film or anything in a feature. Before I get started, I noticed that when I go live on notifications, I didn't realize in Mexico on Saturday they brought the time zones, the savings, daylight savings, an hour back in Mexico. So I apologize for that if you guys, because it was 9 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. So it's back in position right now. I changed my phone on the surface position line system rotation. My computer changed the line center rotations. So this is how it worked. I had a black screen when I was going live and over 2,000 views. And because of the time switch, that was a clocking system because my phone has to be at the interline connection to the same time zone line system to its computer or anything to its phone. It was just reception. So it all position line connections, but there's a lot of energy that comes in every single day when I go live with everybody, right? But I have to make sure that the time zone is set in your position, okay? Rather than me being set line center of 5,000 years in the future, 7,021. So I thought that was pretty interesting. People couldn't see me for 5-10 minutes. So it's all about understanding how to connect to that line rotation when you get up to higher levels of your phone reception line connection. So what I'm going to do every day, I think I'm going to go to TikTok and I will do an intro about saying, okay, I'm going on in a couple of minutes because you guys are referencing to me all levels of TikTok, right? So I think it's better because, I don't know if people are getting their notifications when I go live and people are missing it, but now it's in the time zone right now. So the clocking system of the phone is in position locations, all right? So since actually 9-10 o'clock instead of 11, all right? So it's an hour behind. So it's different, same with Canada when it has its daylight savings. So basically, that's what I'm going to do, I think, every day. So you guys get the notifications when I go live. And then all you have to do is basically click this right here. See this right here? Click that right here. That will take you right to my YouTube. Okay? Right here. So you don't get confused. Go with that. You'll find the notifications when it comes on. Now, it's interesting how it gaps aligns center rotations to its computer line positions. And because it goes an hour ahead, okay, I usually go on before that. So I don't usually go on at that same time it says on the YouTube, but I'll tell you exactly when I go on so you get the right specific time zone and that line position. So I'll do it through TikTok and I'll let you guys know. So you'll get the notifications rather than me going to everybody else, right? Because I got over almost 2,000 following, right? So that's a lot of TikToks. Yeah, I'm coming on. I'm coming on. All right, here I am. And notification, here I am in live. So I think that's what I'm going to do. That makes it easier for you because you watch my TikToks every day to that position, right? So I think it's better for everybody. So anyway, I did a very powerful TikTok. We're coming to signature patterns. We're coming to our DNA track line system. So it's all about you understanding you've already written your script and you're just doing it all over again of soul remember. And solar remembering and soul remembering. That's the two communication line centers you have to send through track line conditions. Getting back into the grounds. Remember, it's the left and right hemisphere. It's the balance line condition and rotations, right? So it's important to understand your epigenetics of everything inside line system rotation, okay? Because that's the true resonance of who you are, okay? You are your own position of your own code, and you have to know how to use it in all levels when it comes into your chakra systems at dimensional time. So today we're going to get into hand interference line center with the tutorials because Amber wants to get into that position. So you guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out signals in the adversary line center. You're going to feel the energy graph and you're going to understand what it is. So I'll do it very slowly. We'll start off with this. This is a triangle, right? Very simple. So get into this position. Just try to get into that and then come in with 2 and do the same thing. All right. And then I'll tell you exactly what it is through calculations. You go back and forth. This is a trinity stand where your travels are in position location, the grounds. So you have your grounds going this way. You have your grounds going back this way. Then you can go up and then go across and go up and go across. And then you go into the circle. You are in the center of everything when you're drawing these things. So it's all about heat signature patterns of atmosphere line connections, where you have to understand the computer screen of the atmosphere location that's in front of you. So you have to understand how to operate it. So it's like telephone, 7-digit number, right? Do, 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 do. Remember those finger points which you put your finger in and go, you know? I never could understand that because it takes too long, but that was way back. And they had the big handles and all that. And you pick it up and it's like, it looks like a Motorola phone. It's got a big antenna that comes out. So back in the day, even in the telephones, back in the 80s, where basically we didn't have any phones. We went to use the telephone. It's like 50 cents a dollar. Say, your time is up. Please put in 10 cents or 20 cents or 30 cents or this call. And so I remember that too, because I used to go to those, I call them time boxes of teleportation. And it's interesting how you go in there, right? So it's pretty hilarious how things have changed if you go back into the past. You are now coming into high levels of programs of past, present, and future of time traveling. And you have to understand how to use your pathogens and your DNAs. So you're writing your own journeys now, but you have to understand the mind conceptual has to be the balance of everything through this program system, right? So when you come to higher positions, because you guys are in your 60s, you're trying to understand all your travels. And then you can start, oh, now I can time travel back to the 80s. All right. And you can actually travel there where you were. So you actually can see yourself on the phone in the teleportation unit or, the telephone box. Right. And I'm saying, whoa, I just saw myself come out. That's crazy. So it's all about soul remembering. Okay, the solar remembering of you through accelerators, the acceleration, and you going through high levels of time position. So you guys are coming more into your time travelers. Okay, so you guys will be doing time traveling now to get to know more of yourself, because you're going to go faster and faster and faster, because you have your full cycles of your sentient view. Okay, you guys are now the sentient views, which is very powerful in all dimension line system. You have to understand how to go through different portals through code line system, right? So we'll stay in the code line centers, but today we'll just concentrate on the information lines. So when you come across these things, you have to know how to use these through solar text, like it's THE, like yesterday. So on the top of that, it's the triangle, it's the weather, okay, and it's the backline center to rotation to point system. Everything that's connected to letters, numbers, and shapes is a shape. It has to be, because it has a location to a planet, right? So every time you communicate to each letter is different intelligence, a planet location, which is extremely powerful, right? To that line position. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys. Okay, it's very important. I'm going to give you live notifications and tell you when I'm going to be on. A few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So you go, oh, great, I didn't miss the live that way, because I'm not going to call up 2,000 following. It doesn't make any sense. So that's what I'm going to do every single day, right? But I still will do my same routine with my data process, uplinks, downloads, upgrading line systems, or rotations, right? So, and the thing is, you'll find yourself time traveling more and more through solar remembering. Okay, so we'll go into that positions. So I think where we're going to go to the brace bracket interference channel. Now, brace bracket is to truly understand the line signal across. This is a line signal. This is a platform. This is a platform. Remember, you have to get into high visic line center rotation. This is a platform. Okay. Okay. This is a platform. This is a spreadsheet. Okay, platform, spreadsheet, platform, spreadsheet. So it's trying to understand you have the platform, right? So it's amazing how you come into line centers where basically a UFO line center will see the platform and will come onto your hand, right? And it'll set up an operation of a planet line center. So it's amazing how it traps the system. You know how ego comes to you and you have a glove and it goes, right? And it looks around. Well, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. So basically, if you understand this, then you understand that it sees what's going on, because it sees you through the hologenetic line interference. It sees you through high position locations, and it sees you through light track system, right? So you understand when I did live, how everything in my hand, and I put it up close, is a beacon light. It changes colors, right? And that's where the UFO line centers see you because you're in a high line center now. So everybody's going to be time traveling. You're going to be time traveling now to your solar epigenetic centerline connections of heat signature patterns to get truly understanding what is going on with you, okay, of soul remembering, okay, because it becomes more of its connections. So you have to time travel, right, to really understand all of these positions. So this really, really breaks surface in all levels of your traumas. And the another thing I want to bring to your attention is that triggers come up from time to time. And that's totally normal because you have to understand you are the physical alignment, but you can't be in the physical alignment through the mind system. Okay. Because you know you are a body. You know that. You have to live in that existence. But the mind has to understand you, okay, to that connection. All right. So I got a little bit of solar graph interference. So it's very important to understand these things. You have to wake up to higher levels. So you guys are going to be time traveling faster now because you're in your 60 chakra communications, right? So your DNA pathogens. So you really have to understand everything through spreadsheet, okay, and base, right? So we go from this, okay, and from here we go from here, all right. And so it's kind of like the alphabetical system with sound barriers when people are deaf and they can do sign language, right? And how they do that through scripture. This is food, right? So that's eternity standing where you come into that, and that's all done through body language, but it's all done through sound too. Because you have to understand when people are deaf in that positions, they hear with fingers. So the fingers are voicing, and that's how they channel to communications, right? Um, so it's all about understanding these three positions, and it's all about you catching on to high level to your positions of time traveling and how you're connected to all levels of your genetic system and positions to your senses. The correlation line centers in this panel has to truly understand you from all levels of your base and your spreadsheet line center location. All right, so you go from here to here, all right, or you go from here to here, all right. So this is up, this is down, up, down, in. Okay. So we'll start off small and then we'll work our way around it. Okay. But I want you to really understand what you're doing. All right. There's a 2V vector line center circle. Okay. Now you can go back too. But you have to understand what you're doing. If you're going forward, you have to know how to go backwards. And the backwards is through time traveling. Okay. You guys only know forward. You don't know how to go back. So that's eternity stand where you have to go into your finger line center rotations. So when you're time traveling, you can go forward and back to its location, right? So in position, when we come into high levels of shadows, the one thing, this is totally off topic. This is all about understanding. Never ever allow yourself to get into your parents of shadow. Shadow yourself locations. Don't be your positions of your parents, okay? Because they have their own pathogen, they have their own path. So we all go through high levels of what we see through obstruction and communications, and it disrupts our signals, right? Because we're little kids and all we see is what goes on through observation, right? So don't be in the shadows of your parents. Okay, it's a very, very powerful tool for everybody because you don't want to be psychologically damaged. And that puts us in a bad position locations. You don't want to do that through calculation, right? It's important to understand that. So don't be the shadows of your parents. Okay, it's important to understand that. All right. So because you come across triggers, a movie or anything like system, and it reminds you of your mother or your dad or your friends or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's or wife, or your kids. Everything is a trigger. You have to find the balance and keep yourself in that system. Go through your own shadow work over and over and over if you come into triggers, especially when you go to higher levels of system rotations. But it's important when you guys go higher, you go into time traveling, right? So we can get into the heat signature patterns of finger point line centers. Okay, the box line system, 2V vector line condition interference. See, the same thing over and over, same thing over and over. But instead of the outline, we're going to go through the inline to the out, right? Not the out to the in. So it's trying to understand how to do both. So you have to know the inner of you and the outer of you, the force in and the force out. That's the only way you can understand all levels of time traveler. As long as you understand time traveler is the past. Okay. Time traveling is the future. Okay. So you have to understand your positions of what you're doing. I am traveling. I, past, am, present, traveling, future, all in 3-line signals of code line system rotations. So you guys are in the code signaling, but you got to get in your finger points. So you communicate with high level rotations to plants, your car, anything like in position. So it's really fascinating when you go to higher levels of track line system rotations. You can set up all level positions, right? And when they see that, they'll land on your hand. Okay. It's like a ladybug, right? It's like a fly, right? Now, with flies, everything exists for a reason. Okay. They're really territorial and positions, and they're kind of like a nuisance because they're always like, oh, you're trying to brush them away and all that, right? You can center line your energies and keep them away if you understand their energy line system. Everything in this whole world has energy around them. That's what puts them in protection. That's what keeps them away from all levels. They see everything from energy. They see everything from bacteria. They see everything through their DNA, and they write their own scripts, so codes. Everything from a fly to all levels of animals. The animal kingdom knows exactly their DNA. Imagine that. They know their DNA. And this is what humanity has to work towards. Right? The reason why they know their DNA is because they live the existence of the now. Right? And believe it or not, they all meditate. They close their eyes and they meditate. Okay? And sometimes they don't have to meditate. Scanning is meditating. So as long as you understand, meditation is a way of seeing you going forward as living. And that's the pathological line connection where it braces all communications to its crystal clear location line system. Okay? So it's very powerful when you come into those positions. So basically, we'll get into high life centers. Now, high life center, okay, it's not like talk to the hand. I'll be back. All right, so we'll get into position here, and I'll show you a little basic understanding how to get into the pathological line connection interference channel locations. Now, it's all about heat signatures. Your pattern interference has to understand communication line centers. Okay, so heat communication, right? Line signal to its location is finger point line center. All right, so we got a finger line connection like here in locations. Okay, now we start off with this position like this through the system. Okay, now in position, you're trying to understand line connections. Let's go 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's not the fanciest, but you see the hand line center. Now, it's all about point position locations. So you understand the line connection, how it has to understand its position location, right? So in that position, you have to understand how to move it on all locations of center line system to its position. It all understands you through calculation of force recognition of timeline connections. So you can do 3 triangle line center rotations in position, okay? So you want to do that, you go to higher level rotations. So it's all about spinning line center to its connections. Now, you guys in life know, understand all position locations. Now you got 5-point location line centers. So this is the moon. As long as you understand that, it's understanding how to use the moon, the sun, and everything in between. All right. So it comes into heat line centers, the communication. Finger point location is the heat line rotation connections. It's the barcode that's in the center line. Okay. So it operates its position locations. You know what a bar graph is, right? In line system, it structures the line connections like this. That's a bar graph. That's in the center line. So you have to understand that when you're scanning, for food or whatever, you're at the market. So it's truly understanding all levels of shapes. Okay. And then when you see them floating, you understand how to flip them back, put them forward, put them across, bring them in your hand. When you bring them in your hand, you can actually create them from their line positions. So anything through track line center, I can have this to the baseline system rotation to its connection. So basically, this is your hand. This is your finger. Okay. Now, this is what you see. This is what UFO sees. You see the light difference? So the track system, the light goes higher to pathogen line interference locations. So they see a UFO like this in line connections, and then they scan that position. They know where you are through track system. They land on your hand line center, and they open up a portal line center to solar graph line connection. So it's very powerful when you connect to these high position locations because they see you through electricity. They see you all levels of your binaries or your flux capacitor line connections. Three channel operation line interference locations, all right? Pay attention, it's very important. This is where the center line comes into you through all track system locations. Now you have to understand all levels of 3, 6, and 9 of its position. Flux capacitor, right? That centers off into the center line system of its rotation, okay? Solarize its line system rotation, comes into sonar interference and three channel line connections, 1, 2, 3, 4, sets off high waving cycles to line connections to higher levels of UFO position, traps its line system its location to ground line center rotations into positions. Another one comes into line rotation, right? Three triangle line interference, all here through locations, right? Three, triangle line interference at base. That's this, do that. Understand? So we all have to understand how to use this now, all through structure. Okay? It's fascinating how everything is connected, guys. It's amazing how you can use this. All right. So we'll start off the base and the spreadsheet. Okay. Base, spreadsheet. Okay. Get into triangle. All right. Get into solar to V vectors. One, start with one, go with two, go with three, go with four. Forward. Okay. Now that's why I want you guys to get into time traveler so you can go back. Because if you don't understand how to go forward and back through your time traveling of your past traumas, and if you have any past trauma, the UFO line center will say your activation line centers are off location positions. Go to your general. So it tells you exactly what needs to be fixed. And it's very important to understand how to use your flux capacitors in all positions of your past, present, and future. It's in your relation, it's in your core system, it's in your thought connectors. So when you guys go to higher level positions, you come into your thought connection of you. All right. So it's all about extending travel. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. 10,000 line per second, 20,000 per line per second, 30, 40, 50. Now, these are all different intelligence. Right? It traps this line rotation. So this is the moon, this is the sun, this is the weathers, right? Now, understanding level positions, how you come into track systems of the flux capacitor of three line centers. All right. See, when you go to that position, this is what you come into. You actually see the UFOs through your handline center. Remember, a UFO doesn't have to be a certain size. It could be this size, guys. It's a magical, wondrous way of seeing things through perception, right? You can see the galaxy in your eyes. I open up track systems, the eye circle locations, you can actually see the galaxies. You've seen it many, many times. Space is inside you. Now is the time to adapt, to get into your time traveler, to your time traveling. Okay? That's a true understanding where you have to go in and out, right? Because if you're going to obsolete line center and you're going forward, but you don't know how to go back, right? Faulty mechanisms through wire fingers. So you have to look at your fingers as intelligence. You can't look at it as a hand. You have to see it as different intelligence. Okay, different voices. Hello. Hello. So it's all different voices, right? Because they're sitting at different operation line centers, and you're looking at your flux capacitor line connections. So once you come into computers, you already know my computer line center, my voice grid line center. It's trying to find its signal. So if you're sending out signals, it's like you're going, you can't do communication line centers. And the UFO will go interruption line interference positions, go back to your general. So you guys are going to come to higher level system. So you're going to get voicing patterns of signature line centers to your fingers now. Different channels. All fingers are 5 points of different intelligence. You guys are going to come into a voice box channel of fingers now. That's the only way you can understand your positions. So all these 5 fingers, okay, so you got 4 fingers and a thumb, right? But truly understand in position, everything is activated to line conditions of different voice box channels. Okay, it looks like the same fingers, but why are they different lengths? Why? Different time position line connection. So I'm glad we're getting into this, and you guys have to learn how to use this. Communicate with plants, communicate with a car, communicate with a chair, communicate with lights, communicate with the grounds, communicate with anything. Anything and everything will communicate with you. Everything. I mean, everything on all levels. And that's what you guys have to get into, right? So, and it's already written. in your position locations to your pathogens of your DNAs, right? Because you are the codes of everything through activation of intelligence, but you understand how to use it through track system. So you're going to be able to go forward because that's what you know. You can't go back until you get into time travelers of your position of your past connections. All right. So it's very powerful. You come in this position locations, right? So we start with the grounds and we go with the spreadsheets, right? And as you go from here, you can go from here. Okay, you can go up here, you can go here. Bring that in, right? Like that. So the thumb is in line center. This is the moon. Hello, right? This is the moon. So you have to send the communication of what's going on with the sun, what's going on with the air, what's going on with the fire, what's going on with the high levels of the earth or water. So you can change the fluxion line centers. So when you go to that position, you actually can see the vibrations in between each finger. You have to understand the sound tones and all positions of string theory line connections. It's amazing how you come into high positions, right? So, and it's amazing how we come to high rise locations. You have to understand why we created you guys in line center, why one hand is bigger than the other. 8 atmosphere line centers of intelligence, 2 within the line connections. So that's 10 altogether, right? So 5 is intelligence and 5 is another intelligence. This hand is smaller, this hand is bigger. This is a realm. This is a realm. This is dimension. This is dimension. This is activation. This is activation. All right. These are 2 different units in space line connections. How your finger point location through the hydraulis, electronic, and your barcode line center rotations. See the shape line center? See that there? See the shape? See the shape right there? See it? See it comes in track system? See it? So it's truly understanding how to use your lights, how to use tiles and see structures of faces, how to see everything through intelligence. You see alien line formations in all levels of structural line connections. You see a tapestry of your history if you understand your connections, your path line system rotation. So it's amazing how everything is structured for you. So it's all about energy changing from you. Okay. And you can plaster it on the wall. You can make a mural and you already know what you're doing, but it has to flash through light so you can actually see the pattern. You can see the map. You can see everything that's connected to you because it's a story of you. And this is where you come into the pyramids. Okay. And the hieroglyphics and what it is through all structured connections. Right. Everything through the pharaohs and the meridian is already set up through line interference when you come into the top. Right. So it's all understanding you through positions, right? Because you are your own DNA to line division, all right? So it's powerful, powerful stuff, guys, when you come in this position locations with your fingers, the line system, a 3 capacitor interference, 3 proton line center. So this is your atom line system rotations, okay? So in position, you guys are coming into this now. It's all about understanding your computer lines, and then you come into your computer activations, but you have to understand your time traveling, okay, to your time traveler. Okay, time traveler is past, time traveling is future. So you have to go forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. So if you went forward and you don't know how to back, your fingers are going to be obsolete. It's going to be going forward, right? And because you haven't created it yet. So basically, you have fallouts because you still have past traumas, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable because now you come into the high level system, you understand the structure line system, and why we have the male and the female aspect of you. Why you have one hand bigger than the other hand, right? Because you can't walk if you guys have both hands line center. So when I created you through lights, the create line center, its rotation is the bigger and the smaller, and all level systems. Same with your feet line conditions. So high level system rotations. When I created you guys, I was going through the metrics of a ruler. I understand from here to here, here to here is your foot. From here to here is your foot. Everything line signals to panel. So it's a certain wire trap. It goes right. So I know exactly where all is contained and proactive line connection. So it's all about understanding the metal face, the panel line, the electrical line connections, the barcode, the finger point line connections, interference channel line system rotations. So it's trying to say from here to here is your foot. Everything is aligned, right? So Michelle, how's it going? Let's go into connections here. All right. Tina, Amber, Cleopatra, and Walker, how we doing? Yes. What time is not? Yeah. Greetings. How's it going? Alicia, Amber, Michelle. Hello. How's it going? Any questions or comments? You can go through my TikTok. Got a little bit of high position here. It's going to come in backtrack system. So I'll understand line centers and position. It's going to come out of track system. It's unbelievable, guys. The best thing you need to do is get balance with everything, the male and the female aspect of you. Okay, so you truly understand why you're put in that positions, why you have one big hand and why you have one small hand, because there's two structural line centers. One is on the right side, one is on the left side, and they're all connected to behavior, all through the earth line connection of your system. So, all right, Ashley, let's go on. Yeah, hello to all the new people. Yes, great to see new people. Any questions or comments, you can go through my Black Federation Light Council. They can help you out in any way, form. Anything else, you can go through my e-lane. Let me know if that connections help you out in all level of rotation. So excited. Yep. Flies or spies. Yeah. Help. Karen, morning. Yep. How you doing? So it's true to understand the structure connections of you through all level of rotation. So I really, guys, want you to focus on high position locations, get into high level rotation line connections. So it's important that you guys are going to come into program interference into your time travelers. You have to know all your resonance of solar direction before you stand forward and back. All right. So we go into triangle. So just do a 1 point line center. Just do a triangle. Very simple, right? Okay. Don't go into 2, don't go into 3, don't go into 4, don't go into 5. It gets complicated. One at a time. 1, just get into that. Go into circle, go into square, go into rectangle, go into star. Okay. Start slow. Start slow. Because remember, you guys in your holograms, you have to learn how to use your fingers. All different intelligence. Okay. So just do it slowly. So it's kind of like understanding the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, Z. So Canada, US line system. So it's truly understanding the alphabetical of your fingers. Going backwards and forwards. And then you can rotate. Sets up a planet. XT1000 comes in. Sets a planet rotation line spin. Flux capacitor comes in. Out through equation. So it's amazing how you see these things in information line center. I can set up a planet and actually see it rotate. I could see it, right? It's like a scan. So it's amazing how it can be anything direction of high level system. Okay, it's amazing how we're all connected to that, especially when you see pixies or, see dragons, or you have to understand why you're seeing these things, right? Because they're in your past, the present, and your future. And you certainly have to know how to do your time travelers to your time traveling. Okay. So that's why I want you guys to get in that position so you can understand more. Because you guys are in 60 communication chakras out of the ground line centers of Mother Earth. So she can help you out, right? And Father can help you out. And that channel line center rotations. Some might hear the voice, some might not. You're not ready to hear that. Once you hear that, then you get full bounce up communications to all your finger line center rotation connections going forward, going back, or anything the center line system rotation. So it's all about using both hands in high signal. Okay, not here, There's no communication there. It's got to be here, right? So it's telepathy one to another, right? Communication. All right. So you have to understand what you're doing because you see it. You see it. You understand what I'm saying when you come to higher levels of hologram line center. You come into your translucent patterns, which is fantastic because now you're seeing things inside more. Like with Vicky Bates and Samantha and Karen, they're seeing their self inside more. But you got to get your time travelers in there so you can go forward and back with all positions, right? And that's a true understanding when you have to go from the inner force and the outer force of you. The whole position of you is inside before you send everything to perception outside through laser directions, right? So that's what you guys are coming into, right? But it's really important how you get in position. So start off with triangles. All right, we'll send code line centers and line connection rotation positions. We go into position locations. So we're coming into code signaling. All right. So glad you guys in your 60s. Makes it easy for me. So in your code signalings now. So we're going to triangles. We go into squares. I showed you with finger points. You go into circle. You can go through star. Okay. So it's all understanding you can go through an S line center, like Zorro. Okay. You can do, it's all about understanding what this is. It's not just a Z or Z. It's a Z line center. It's an off location line, position location of Z trap link rotation. That's where you get in communications, guys. So it's not just a Z, it's zigzag. Okay. So it's all about understanding how to connect to this, and this, all through your fingers. Right? Because you're sending communication. So it's different key lines, different keyboards. So it's like tapping A, S, J, K, L, E, 4, F4, 7, right? Delete, insert, F12, 0, okay? Control, shift, cap locks. So it's understanding how to use all this through your finger. And then it starts floating above. So you come from this to high position locations into point line center rotations to this. There's the connection. Right? XC1000 comes into line center, sees your location, scans a high line rotation at all levels. Comes into the center point of you. You're always in the center, all levels of your box center line connections. Now, you start with your box line centers. That's why I say box, but you go inside, not the outside line center system. It's not four waving line centers in position of a box line connection. It's inside position. So the XC1000 comes in and scans you through your flux capacitor. Right? Line signals is channel line connections. Interlines is position locations, right? So it's communication. Done through equation. There you go. Done. Right? So start off slow. Now try to get into more formation line centers because you guys are coming more into high levels of your bar graphs. These are your bar graphs. These are line strips. These are high rise line screens. So each realm is line center. Okay. So this is in the palm of your hand. You have to learn how to use it. So it calculates and modifies all levels of your particle line connections, right? High positions, your line center rotations. It gets complicated as you go. So it's all about understanding, see the line signal to its particle light, because it's communication, right? So this is what a line strain line connection is interference epigenetic line system rotation looks like to calculations. So you have to send all level positions of track line connections to its position. High forces is line centers to its connections, right? So it's trying to understanding where it's coming from. Is it coming from the box? Is it coming from a circle? Is it coming from a triangle, or is it coming from a star? Right? So it's all about understanding how to read the cycle line center rotations to your finger point locations. It's in the center line of its dimensional. So it's amazing how you come into high position to dimensional line sightings. It opens all level position locations, right? It high positions into high level rotation. Right, so there you go. There's the diamond core line center in its position. Right? There's a hologram right there. That's it. The complete cycle of your box line center and rotations to shape line centers of triangles, starlight position line connections, circle rotations is in trap system to high rise locations of your bar code interference. of finger point joint line system rotation. So it's trying to understand how to use that through platform. See how it's coming into a hologram? You see that now? Now, when you understand that positions, you can high rise your line centers into higher level rotations. You go from this to connection. It's really fascinating when you reach these higher levels, guys. You got the triangle, you got the box, the center line system, you got the circle. So you come into high positions like this through high level rotation. So starlight positions are S through connections, S slash, okay, high positions of telepathy, all right, system of telepathy, all right. That comes into station, so that's all levels of position locations. Now you come into high levels of the triangle line center. Triangle line center is everything through C, charging line interference. Box line center is U through TV reception. And everything through the circle rotation is your location of acceleration, done through position. So you have to learn how to use your plasmas and your formulas and how it equalizes everything through your line position locations to bar graph locations of its round line system of all position locations. It comes into your hologram. So you have to learn how to create holograms of planets and shapes in your information line center. But you have to understand your time travelers to your time traveling positions. Coming in at these positions, they see your finger point line centers in balance. Okay, this is what you see, but this is what they see. They see the hydraulics, they see the electronic of you through finger point line center. So it's trying to understand that your fingers are nothing but electronics. The more you understand that, the more that you come to high rise, more position locations, right? So your finger joints become more of intelligence through its connection, like this through track system. Okay. So it's trying to understand what you're doing through all levels of your flux capacitor. It high channels its line rotation, comes into hand formation line connections. All right, so here we go. Let's see here. Wheeline, how's it going? I heard a voice last night told me it was Vega before my visitors with big eyes. Yes, like I said, you guys are getting communications. So Vega's coming to me because you guys have to get into your time travelers. You have to understand your past, get rid of all your traumas. All your traumas. You can't do finger points going forward and back. Okay? It's very hard if you don't understand your positions and why we have high rise line center to rotations to your audio interference locations, your right track and your left track line system. It's all done through your perception and reception to its connection. It's reacting to the heart line center rotation. The portal line center of the heart is its reactor. It's the magnetic line to the finger point location line connections. It's connected to your barcode line interference channels. So you certainly have to understand how to use all levels of creating a hologram of a channel line connection positions. So it's kind of like DNA track your system through digital padding. Digital padding to its digital force, to its line position. Open up all levels of the round line center. You come into a holographic structure of communication, all done through your finger point line system rotations, done through position. All right. So yeah, it's fascinating when you guys go to those levels, right? Lucas, how's it going? I got my activation last night, feeling a bit better physically today, and it seems to be more aware of the environment. There you go. See, Lucas is in position and line through track system. So see, when you're activated, you get into more meditation. And it's not you, it's all levels of your intelligence. It helps you in all ways and forms. And then you realize, whoa, this is intense. Like I said with Bradley Cooper and the Limitless, things that you can't do, right? Helps. So you become more percentage of the mind because the whole understanding is you're always in position to use 100% of the brain, not just 10%. All right. So that's how I'm showing you what you can do with your fingers. All right. So it's amazing how we come into that position. But I really want you guys just to start off with a box with a line center. Just do that, right? So what I want you to do is just start off. This is easier for you. This is harder for you. Okay? Because you only know the outline center of the mind. The mind has to understand the frequency patterns. The frequency patterns to the high line center rotation is you through the high level positions. You don't want to get skeptic and understand, whoa, what is going on? I feel weary. I feel weird. I feel dizzy. What's going on, right? So you have to use your finger points to get back in line center in communications, right? So if my heart's off the line system, I have to put it back in location. So if I do this, it's polarity. It's unbelievable. It's magnetic, right? Because it understands me through balance. So it's all about understanding. You can do finger point lock centers, back in position. So it's amazing how you can do these things through track system, all done through shapes and anomalies. So you have to understand how to use your pixel activation line center. So each cell is a computer represented line position that tracks its system to its co-line system rotation. Now it gets extremely complicated, but this is more for the team. All right. Sometimes my YouTube is easy. Sometimes it's harder. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it's really, really, really hard to do these things. But they're coming in positions and they have to understand all levels of getting all that conditions of past traumas out of its equation. All right. So you'll feel it too. You feel a lot more balance with your finger points going this way, going that way, doing this, doing that. Okay. Because it's helping you out. Once the fingers understand you and you understand your fingers, you realize that each one is different travel of intelligence of different timeline connection. All right. That's why you have a thumb. But if you notice, this is short. See how it goes like that? It's all position of you. That's what it's there for. But you have to understand how to do this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, right? To this, to this, to this, to this. So it's really understand how to use your shapes and everything through communication to your end up the line system. It has to line up the same locations, division line center, V-trap line center. Okay, if there's a two V-trap line center rotations on one side position, that's okay. On the left side, but the right side is one, there's no communication. Understand? That's the balance of rotations of a travel location, of time traveling and time traveler position location. So you really have to understand how to travel faster and faster through your finger line rotation. Okay? So any questions or comments, let me know. I know it's fascinating. So once you get into balanced positions, once you guys understand your time traveler and time traveling, you can start communicating with circuitry walls of lights, and they'll send you codes back. So I know it's unbelievable, isn't it, when you reach these levels? So you're not just traveling through time now, you're connecting to high level systems of your reality. You're trying to get into your reality of your hologram structures, how to create your own shapes all through digital pad, right? So it's all about understanding the graph line system to its location. So this is what it looks like, track system, guys. I'll show you exactly what it is. This is you, all right? That's you, right? Now, this is what you come into. You come into a graph of a screen. Every day, everywhere you go, structure line, center, rotation positions. So it's true to extend, you have your positions to your bar graph line connections. It comes into solar line position, okay? That's how it comes into position locations, right? Now it comes into a plasma like this. Starts off like that, right? Once you go to high-rise line center, now you understand this is connections. Let's say this is a wall graph connection, right? But you got one graph line center, one in rotation of the center line positions, okay? And you got one in low division of the ground line system rotations, right? So you got to do reading cycles of the ground line center, set up the rotations of the high position of T reception to high position locations to a computer location, right? So it's truly understanding when you go into higher level rotations, you come into high levels of position, right? And then when you understand that channel line conditions, you can put up your hand line center in this position locations and channel its finger point location, right? So it sets off signals like this in locations, right? High rise, it's pixel activation. The astrologic comes in through track system locations, understanding you through plasma interference. Once it understands you through positions, it high tracks its line conditions, and it sends back codes to you through high line center. Hello. And there you go, communicating back with you, all through plasma interference of finger point line connections, electronic interference line connection, all done through barcodes. So it's reading the barcode, the central line connections to the positions, because everything through TV reception has a lock-in connections. It has a circuitry board. Now, that circuitry board is the mothership line system rotations, but you have to understand the mothership. That's the base. That's the position to the high line center of the ground line center rotations. Once you get in that positions, you come into flux capacitor and high line center to all level positions of calculation. All right. So a lot to learn, eh? But you really want to get into higher level system rotations first. Then when you get into your time travelers and all levels of time traveling, you come into this position. There's a circuitry light. We start here. Whoa, look at that. Starts blinking. Do, 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 do. right? Now, you have to understand, you scan it right away, right? So it's going off signal, right? So you got the communication to ground, you got the powers, and you got your atmosphere line center, all right? So put your E fields up, right? Especially if you're looking at it for the first time, especially if you're in somebody else's house. This is where you guys have to come to higher level rotations. Once you get into high rotation line conditions, then you can start cleansing their houses because you have to protect yourself because you don't know what you're walking into. The ground line centers can be off, the structural line system can be off, the foundations can be off, anything that line conditions can be off. The structure of the building can be a high force line system, dimensional lock condition, interference channel line conditions. So you truly understand how to communicate through circuitry lights, all right, in all level system. All right. So it's not just the lights, it's all positions of a door. All right. So here's another position location. You have the scan line center to location. Right. From there, you understand how to get into line center rotations to its position. So the circuitry light comes back at you, scans you through the line center, right? Sends information, energy to line center rotations, opens up all your pixel activation line condition, rainbow activation to that position. Okay. Once you stand in that position, comes into, you guessed it, the flux capacitor. High lines its signal, brings open all levels of your magnetic highway line center. Okay. That comes into positions, interlines its position line conditions, opens up all levels of coloration pattern of channeling emerging line interference to telepathy interference line condition. So once you come into that positions, it communicates back and forth. Comes into your high level system, out of track system, to its position. Comes into its right coloration line center to my telepathy to the sun graph line system to the moon trap line interference to the circuitry light of the same line conditions. Same thing with the door. You come into position locations. This is the door here, but the door is not on the ground, but it's in its ground line center, its rotation. Everything through the door has a flux capacitor. Everything has to have a flux capacitor. It's a center line of view. So you're going through the inner line center of the door line connections, right? Open up positions, door comes up to position. Here it is, two locations. High position line conditions. Here comes in your higher self. Hello, how's it going? Hey, how you doing? You know, communicating to the door right here. So it's a lot to learn, all right? Gets more complicated, but it's a lot of fun, all right? So you guys know what you need to do now, right? I want you to get really into your time travelers, get into your past, make sure you release all trauma or you can't move forward through finger point line condition, okay? Because remember, you guys are coming to each joints. Imagine that all these fingers are different intelligence of time. Okay, they have to because look at the sizes. They're all different. You understand why one hand is bigger than the other hand. That's the balance. You can't have two hands on the same line center. Okay, it's like having too much information on one side and not enough on the other side. Whoa! I'm off balance. Right? So that's why it made you guys do like traction and your position to your gravity line, locking location, dimension line, system rotation. So it calculates and modifies, right, to all connections. So questions or comments, let me know. I'm going to head over to TikTok. Let's see here. I'm just going to backphrase. It gets confusing after a while. Yeah. Yeah. But just start off small. Start off with the shapes. You know, get into your 1 points. Don't get into 2. Don't get into 3. Don't get into 4. And only go forward. You can't go back. And you'll feel the friction. You'll feel the energy. And it's like you're trying to go back, but you can't because you don't have balance with your finger lines. If it's off like that, there's no communication. It's off like that, there's no communication. But if it's back in line center, there is communication on both sides of dimensions. So the correlation line center is in position of circle, 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 forcing its position going into its flow, right? So it's kind of like driving your car, but you're going in the back and you're going in the front. So the wheels are going. You can't go anywhere. It's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? So the wheels have to go forward. Understand? So it's all about understanding how to go forward with the car, how to understand how to go back with the car, how to back up with the car, how to turn around from a car. So that's true understanding. You know how to drive. You just have to do the same thing with your navigations of yourself through its programming line connections and understand how to use your flux capacitors to the epigenetic line connection. So Makes sense though, right? Because if you confuse the alignment of the car, what direction you want the car to go? If you want it to go forward, that's great. But if you want to go back, then what? So you have to know how to go forward and back, right? It's your understanding. How are you supposed to know until you get in a car, right? So you're learning the process on how to drive. And once you know how to really drive, you can go forward and back anywhere you want. But you're always, always, always moving forward, right? So as long as you understand that, because everything that we look at is male and the female aspects of the hologenetic center and locations to your pixels and your activation line connections, because everything in life is nothing but a hologram of you through connections, but it's living the presence of the now line system. Okay. But once you get in the track line centers of high level system of rotation of time traveler and to time traveling, then you get a high level rotation, how to go back and forth with your finger point line connections. Okay. So, all right. So I think that's good. We learned a lot today. I know it's complicated stuff. You guys probably have to keep watching the video and say, what? Scratch my head. Don't understand. If you don't understand, that's totally fine. My team can help you out. The Galactic Federation Light. Okay. They're here to basically understand more how they have to connect to high level rotations to more circuitry light connections. Now they can go outside and communicate with a pole or electrical wire or a telephone pole or communicate with anything. So they have to use how to use their hands. So, all right. Yeah, it's a fascinating tool, isn't it? Are there any colors that connect to certain fingers or that changes by the concept? Very good question, Ellen. That's excellent. I like that. Okay, so basically, it's all about understanding you through coloration. You're an activation of rainbow. You have to understand that through position. So the more you high rise, the more you go through electrical light connections. So each finger is a dimension of you, but it's different travel because it's different shapes. See, different shape, different time, different fingers, different colors, right? So if I travel through my pinky, that's 10,000 PT line center rotations into two high level system rotations, 60 seconds, 20, 30, 40, right? You have to understand your fingers are all different, right? So you can basically change the flux capacitor on each finger. So if you look up really close, you can see the high line centers, the strip location line systems. See the lines there, right? These are magnetic lines. These are magnetic lines. Okay, these strip the line center rotations to your finger point line center. So it sets up the flux capacitor. Right? So it's very powerful when you come to high levels of colors. Right? Each finger is connected to you. Right? So these are all different intelligence of communication, but it's got its balance on its right and its left hemisphere line system to its location. So it's the connection to the brain, guys. And that's what the brain needs to understand. It has to understand you through the concept of the mind, because especially if you're like 15 million years in the future, it's like, whoa, hold on a sec. I don't understand communication line centers and track line center rotation positions. What are you doing through track line conditions? I'm operating all level position locations. I will find you within a high level rotation line condition, put you back down to line center, X line. See? They're helping each other, helping each other, helping each other, helping each other. The more you go high rise, the more you go high rise, the more you go high rise, and then you go forward, back, forward, front, wherever you want to go, up, down, go to different line centers, line string across, angle up, angle down, crisscross, zigzag, anything line system rotations. All right, do its calculations. Yeah, it's the concept. Yeah, exactly. And it changes per second per second. So you have to be cautious in what you're doing with your fingers. Right? Because if you don't, you're going to have a reaction to the mind system of thought. Because remember, it's the mind that's connected to the altered state. And the altered state of the mind has to understand you through registering patterns. Registers patterns understand identifications to each finger that is given to you to different time, position, location. Okay? I know. So start off small with your shapes. All right? Adios.